Hey everybody, welcome to another geopolitical analysis video. I thought I'd make another video because I noticed there's panic going on, selling. Apparently 1 point something trillion has been lost March 10th onwards in the markets, and people are panicking, thinking this is the end. Trump is crashing the stock market. There's a theory out there that Trump might be trying to pursue market declines and potentially in order to get the Fed involved to drop interest rates. This could be an entire scheme to refinance the debt, the national debt of the US, which we know is unsustainable. But in this situation, I really think we need to look at things from a rational perspective, look at the fundamentals, but look at the technicals. Thank you, some of you, for the kind remarks about the interest rates. Again, I want to point out that the entire stock market right now is in uncharted territories, right? But most importantly, the sentiment at the top never really hits fear. Instead is in euphoric and total greed zone. So in this situation, we're seeing total panic, total feardom. So I don't think that we need to rush to think that this is a market crash. This is a correction. Okay, this is what investors call fine pickings. Okay, we've only dropped 10%. Now, when was the last time we had such a drop here? This was back in the summertime in August. I remember this because back then people were calling for a crash. Even here, this was much less. So, but if we go, was this during COVID? Let's check out. No, this was another correction. Look at that, 27% drop, right? This was after the mega rally. This was during COVID, right? So you've had a 27% correction. And here, 34, 35. These are market crashes. Now we can talk about a market crash, 35, 27%, okay? And if we look at the narrative was, hey, we got this virus, people are going to die, supply chains were disrupted, etc., etc. And over here, we were on a downtrend, and so far, I haven't seen anything like this. This is typically when you see something like this, where you get printed lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower highs. Okay, and then you get these flush outs, these V type of patterns. Okay, these indicate a downtrend where you're losing momentum. But again, the trend is our friend, and when we look at the curvening, okay, all of these prices after a period of months, of course, this takes some time. This indicates that a bottom, some time of bottom is forming when you have these larger capitulations, where you have some buying pressure, it comes down lower. Also, if you look at the volume was picking up tremendously in terms of the buying pressure, right? So this is the area where you know that the downtrend at some point is going to reverse when you see these patterns. It's a very common pattern. It's found in a lot of commodities. It's found in stocks alike. Now, moving forward, I'm not seeing something like this. Okay, and what I mean is that this was the highest point of the stock market, right? Until I start seeing the same pattern where we print a lower high, we drop lower, we get a lower high again, we drop lower, then I'm willing to call that, hey, this is a bear market. We're in a temporary bear market. Remember, bear markets last much shorter than a bull market. Okay, typically that's what happens. Except if you have depression, except if you have like what happened with Japan, which hasn't still seen after several decades now the all-time highs. But I want to point out to the obvious: the dollar is dropping. The dollar is dropping because it's signaling strength in other currencies, or it's signaling that along with the interest rates, we're going to see a fuller downtrend with the interest rates. My call over here was purely on a technical basis. I didn't look at other storylines, but I do think that these temporary bounces where we're getting, sure, you can say that, you know, it's a situation with the tariffs, it's a situation where people believe we're in a stagflation period. I don't see this lasting. In fact, TLT is still a great positioning. We can see TLT reach 94, 96, even 100. Okay? You see this rounding bottom that I was describing you, where lower highs are printing lower lows, lower highs. We're coming towards the end of that. Okay? You notice, remember the V's I was showing you on the SPY? Well, the TLT is doing that. And the TLT might be in a situation right now that could accelerate, could indicate what's to happen, which is the acceleration of the bond buying, which again will lower prices, and at some point the Fed will have to intervene. If not, the Fed already being intervened, because the Fed already has, we know, a trading office, and there's a lot of money that goes into buying the debt, because at the end of the day, every central bank wants to be the last lender and buyer. Okay, so if we're looking at the TLT is looking very good, and typically when the TLT does very well, that indicates, you know, that there's either a lot of mistrust in what's going on, and a lot of people are having that flight to safety in bonds, or at the same time there is, you know, that pressure where the economy is seeing that inflation is dropping. Because remember, interest rates always follow the assumed inflation. Okay, so in this chart over here, I think that we were very clear with interest rates, and it's very important to understand the debt market. Okay, we are having mistrust around the world. Okay, a lot of countries are dumping each other's debt, either because of tariff sanctions, or because of what's happening in Ukraine, or what's happening with the East and the West in terms of finding a new footing in this world order that we're in. So I know a lot of people were disappointed at my call with Bitcoin, and some people unsubscribed. Some people left me some nasty comments that you said this was a bottom. What I said was, if we have a weekly bottom below, then I would be cautious. But I think it's improbable that we will see a weekly close. And what do I mean by weekly close? Because a lot of you pay attention to the daily. Over here at the chart, okay, this is the final support. Okay, critical support, 73 to 78,000. This is a good support area, but it's the final support zone. Okay, this is before the launch pad that we saw back in November. So what I'm trying to say here is that so far we're seeing that there has been a decent bounce. We're seeing that the selling pressure has decreased somewhat. And if we were to still look at the moving averages, I believe this is the for the weekly, this is the 20 or the 50. Let's check it out. Yeah, this is the 50, guys. Yeah, this is the 50. So the 50 is a pretty major support. Then you have the 100, the 200. In this situation, I'm not too worried, because I think that we're finding support around here with the prices. We're also bouncing from the moving average, and I just don't think that we've topped yet given the sentiment. And you know what? I've told you before that in previous bull rallies, you get from 25% to 55% drawbacks, and Bitcoin still goes much higher. Okay, at this point, if we look at, if I can get that, can I get that? Sorry, guys, gotta move this guy here. Bear with me, guys. Okay, we've just hit 30%. 30% is well within the range of a bull market correction, okay? 32%. So we can even hit 73%. This is a major support level, like I told you. We have time, okay? As long as we're not closing here on a weekly basis, but we have this bounce, like this wick where we're noticing buying pressure, we're still okay. In an environment where interest rates are dropping, the Fed is the only one that hasn't printed money, okay? And this whole refinancing debt is gonna come into play. So we're at the crossroads right now. We're just about to enter the biggest financial relief, the biggest supply of capital around the world. It's gonna happen. Now, why am I so confident about that? Okay, well, let's take a look at the money supply here. Oh, the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve has been cutting down. We noticed that this was the period where they were raising interest rates and they were sucking liquidity from the world. Yes, from the world, because there are more US dollars outside of the US than sovereign US dollars. So the euro dollar trade has been suffering, okay? So a lot of foreign banks are underwater. Most banks are underwater, okay? Most banks right now are illiquid. So we are at a point where after the cuts, there's a potential here to resupply to higher highs. And the reason why I say this is because look at what happened with COVID, okay? And look at what's going to happen potentially in an environment where the recession, we're already in a recession, is just, it's a bad word. Nobody wants to mention that word. But the Atlanta Fed in the US has noted that the GDP is negative, okay, for the previous quarter of 2024. Major countries are in a recession already. And I do think that we're going to be in the biggest money printing environment that we've ever seen. Okay, gold. Let's check gold because I made a call with gold. I thought that gold has topped temporarily. And the reason why I said it again is because I never saw this topping tail being confirmed above. Meaning, yeah, there was one close above, but it was never confirmed further. It's sold down. And we see that it's kind of meandering around here. I see gold dropping a bit lower. And in an environment where the recession kicks in and there's a lack of demand, gold sells much faster because of the derivative, right? We're talking about paper gold. So it's going to sell. Here I'm noticing there's a decent bounce today. I'm noticing with the RSI something interesting. Okay, yeah, we're not paying. I got it. Okay. So bear with me, guys. Okay. All right. Okay. We'll delete this one too. Boo. Okay, so I'm noticing that with the RSI here, we might be having, we're in an oversold condition. So I want to take a look with you. Whenever we were in an oversold condition, let's go on the weekly to have some perspective. Whenever we were in this environment where we were oversold, there was a strong bounce after that. And if you notice here as well, back in 2023. So we haven't been oversold like this, like October 2023. Just to put into perspective, okay? Put into perspective that what ensued after was like a 30 or 40%, yeah, almost 50% rally. So this doesn't mean that we were in an environment that we haven't seen before, okay, in the bull market. So for you to assume that this is a crash is so premature. It's 10%. There's no need to panic here, okay? If anything, you should be buying your favorite stocks here. The Teslas, the Apples, the PayPals, the whatever you like. I would stay away from bank stocks. But a great indicator of the economy, like I've told you in my previous video, 2 recession signals, is the price movement of oil, the price movement of TLT. Okay? When you see oil dropping like this precipitously, sure, we'll see a temporary bounce, but when you see such a drop in oil and you see a rise in TLT, these are one of the highest accurate signals out there that indicate that the economy is dead weak. It's not good. It's not improving. There's no growth, okay? If anything, we're going on a steeper decline, okay? Oil is one of the life forces of the global economy, okay? For many things, for transportation, production, manufacturing, distillation, what have you, okay? 3,000 products depend on oil and natural gas alone. Now, I want to go back to the miners because I know a lot of you were disappointed and a lot of you have hated that, you know, the Russell has performed poorly, especially after this double top. I did mention in my videos before that this could be a potential double top, meaning that this could be a temporary top, and I didn't sell, I didn't short this, I didn't think that this would be such a drawn out period, but I do think that this is a great opportunity. There's ample of support here, and again, we're oversold, okay? So this is very important. This is very important to note. Now, looking at at Mara, because I find Mara and the Russell somewhat move together. Okay, so let's take a look at the miners. The miners have been in a major consolidation. Marathon is one of the most important companies in the US right now after what happened with the Bitcoin strategic reserve. This is so important to note that the US will not be selling. They will be budget neutral, not adding money, but with Doge and with potentially the refinancing of debt, and a lot of the advisors of Trump have suggested that they want to buy Bitcoin at some point. Okay, now let's take a look at another chart that indicates us. This happens in commodities. You typically have this Elliott wave formation, which has a much extended move in commodities. Bitcoin is a commodity. It moves like a commodity. The final wave of commodities goes parabolic in a bull market. And we're in a situation right now where the environment is favoring Bitcoin more than ever before. Okay, more than ever before. We have one bullish news after the other, especially from governments and large institutions, which are grand manipulators, of course, but have vested interest in Bitcoin for obvious reasons, okay? Because they can remonetize debt using Bitcoin as well, okay? Now, I think this extended parabolic move can be coming soon, okay? It's not outside of the realm of possibilities. And this is an interesting chart that I've been using to guide me. And so far, it's been playing out to the T. So let's see. Something else I want to show you about the whole theory of Trump, for instance, crashing the market and what have you. Look, even on his first term, there was a lot of turmoil, a lot of selling off because of COVID, etc. But what ensued was a phenomenal move, okay? Because again of money printing. Donald Trump has been adamant in his team. They want lower rates and they want to refinance the debt. They want more money to flush the markets. It's going to happen. It's just a period of time. So be patient, okay? Be patient and accumulate. This is the area where we want to accumulate. So with the miners here, we're in oversold condition, okay? I do see this turnaround. We had this topping tail over here that was concerning when it took place, indicating that this is going to push the prices down. But we're at a point right now where there's huge demand. This is a huge demand area. So this area here is great if you want to add in, okay? We're not going to make every call correctly, but we're using indicators and we're using analysis that is as a guide. Technical analysis is a guide, and technical analysis more often than not is correct, okay? So what I would say to you is be patient. Also, don't panic sell. Add to your favorite stocks and be patient. This is the time you want to buy at these prices, not when stocks are expensive, okay? So think about that. Thank you, everybody. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.